So this is gentle. It is Tibetan based, but just lift and roll the shoulders as we so often do, setting and opening the energy into the head. Breathing in, turn the head to the left, and breathing out, turn the head to the right. Into the left, and out to the right, and come back to the centre. So breathing in, raise the right arm up, stretch the arm up and press the right foot down. And breathing out, turn the head to the left. Stay here for an in and an out breath. When you're ready, bring the head back to the centre and lower the right arm. And then the other side, as you raise the left arm, stretch it up, press the toe foot into the ground, stretch the left arm up, and when you're ready, turn the head as you breathe out to the right. Breathing in and out here. And when you're ready, bring your head back to the centre and breathing out, lower the left arm. Lift and roll both shoulders. Bring the hands to the heart centre, press the palms together, and just look at your fingertips. And then soften the arms as you circle them upwards. You can soften your knees as well. Clasp the reverse your hands, stretch up. And then laterally go to the left, bounce in and out. Breathing in, come to the centre, stretch up with your hands, and breathing out. Go to the other side. And then come to the centre. And breathing out, release the hands and bring them as you turn to the left. Lower them down. Breathing in, raise the hands up, turn to the centre, and breathing out, lower the hands to the right, turning to look over the right. How much you turn is up to you. Breathing in, straighten the legs slightly, come to the centre. Once more to each side, breathing out, soften the knees and lower the hands to the left. Breathing in, raise the hands up, arms together, and breathing out, go to the other side. Breathing in, hands up. Hold your thumbs and just gently sway from side to side. So that's your swaying palm tree, vata, dosha, element of air, and any pain. It's very good for balancing the vata dosha. And then come to the centre and lower the arms. Lift and roll the shoulders. And just place your hands on your waist. Have your feet a little bit perhaps wider, hip width apart. Patsy and I discussed at length chair pose, because I think anybody over a certain age, and chair pose is very challenging for them. So this is a variation, just bend your knees. You might like to just bring your bottom away from you, and you're looking either down on the mat or looking up, but down is restful. You'll feel your abdominal muscles engage, and breathing in, coming up. And then lower the hands. I won't say do this, but I just wanted to show you what chair pose is like, because I find it very challenging. And chair pose is feet together. Sometimes they invite you to have the toes together, heels out, which doesn't work for me at all, funnily enough. And you literally bend your knees, arms straight up, tummy in. I find that so stressful on the lower back, and then coming up. So the version that we've done is a modification. It's meant to engage your core, your abdominal muscles, and it does that. You do that just as easily by having your feet slightly apart, softening your knees. You can just keep your hands here. You're still engaging your abdominal muscles. I mean, if you want to raise your hands up or just whatever, that's fine, but it's just a softer version.
It's the arm raising that's a difficult bit, isn't it? For some reason, I don't know why it's...
Yeah. Yes, it pulls on your back.
It pulls.
Yeah.
I prefer it like this. I don't get the pull. I wonder if I'm not doing it right.
It's very well. Well, that's interesting.
Yeah.
You've got strong
Feel
abdominals.
proud, that's good.
And you've got strong, yeah, so you've got strong abdominal muscles. Isn't that interesting?
I don't do anything with my abdominals. But that, yeah, it pulls more the other way,
How interesting.
but not on the back.
Not on the back. Well, it's very interesting. And then just feet apart, just come to very gentle side to side. And so maybe to give options, just always give options. It's from the full one to the modification. And one of the people in Nikki's class, we think, has left a sock, and I can't bear to throw someone's sock away. So I keep putting it there, hoping someone's going to throw that one there.
I just get rid of it.
And then somebody else has left a hair grip. And Nikki said, don't bother
Sock.
about it, just throw that away. But as I said, it's such a shame that someone's missing a sock. And I
It depends what sort of sock it is. If it's a nice sock,
It's nice,
then, you know, Sweaty Betty, posh one. But if it's just Primark sock,
Sock,
then
it
you
doesn't
can
look very
throw
posh.
I don't know, I
She needs my socks, I don't know how I end up with odd ones.
yes, they kind of get lost at the washing and then just gently come to standstill and just lift and roll the shoulders. I've been doing some training on Parkinson's, which is quite interesting, how the brain can unravel, I suppose, and how the body unravels, and how it differs from dementia. So again, quite interesting. But they didn't include this in Parkinson's, but the left-right brain communication can kind of wobble. And this is a very interesting one which we've done before, but wasn't included in the not in this Parkinson's training. I've done other Parkinson's training, and it is. But just it's engaging the brain in a slightly different way, and then reverse your circle. And then lower the arms, lift and roll the shoulders, and then the other way. And then if you just cross your right leg over your right leg over your left, even the fact of crossing the legs, although you're not doing much, you're not actually balancing, indicates to the brain that there's been a crossover. And again, if you raise your arms up and just you'll naturally take your wrists, or however you can hold your wrists, whatever works for you. I'm clasping my hands. And just go to one side, come to the centre, and go to the other side. One side will feel, so if I go to my left, it feels better stretched for me. And so people who might not necessarily want to do this, come to the centre and just lower your hands. You can invite them to sit in a chair and cross your legs, and we're going to come to the other side. And cross their ankles and cross their hands, and the brain still registers the crossover, apparently. So for older people, to keep their neural pathways kind of open, apparently it's a brain communication thing. When people get older, they can't always stand up and balance. So doing this for an older person, left over the right, you can't always, as I said, they'll wobble. You can have a chair, but often they've lost confidence by that stage. So I just thought it was again quite interesting. Again, this was not covered in this Parkinson's training, but a lot of brilliant stuff was, so it's just interesting. And coming from side to side. And coming to the centre, and then lowering the hands, and crossing the legs, and shoulders. So on the balance front, we've done this before. If you come to the end of the mat, and then bring, you can have your feet out to the side rather than absolutely straight. If you bring your one foot in front of the other, tends to be your right foot if you're right-handed. Hands on the waist. You can have your hands out if you want to, and just balance and just go from side to side, but you equally could just have your hands on your waist, just on your balance, and you could just literally sway from one side, so that really is challenging. I think you've got it, Charlotte, just you're going from your waist or something.
Yes. We keep you all steady, she says. And then just move from the waist upwards,
So,
try and separate the two,
So-
which is not going very well for me at the moment.
so maybe hands on the waist, whatever works for you, and then of course you bring your back foot forward. I can only do it if I'm like a duck, I have my feet out, wobble to the side, I can't put my feet one in front of the other. And again, any kind of balance is working on the brain, the neural pathway communication. But balance on one leg is harder. And so again, it's looking at balance, but you've got both feet on the ground. And you don't have to have your arms out in front, you can just keep them on the waist. And of course, then you bring the next foot in front of the other. And just interesting, isn't it? Very depressingly, balance is an indication of,
Dementia.
oh, thank you, how we age. Yes. So anyway, and then last one, if I wobble two, and then just come to centre. And then just release your hands and come back. Yes, just interesting.
Well, because if you don't balance, you fall over, and that's what kills people.
Don't tell her that, she just fell out the door.
I just fell out the door.
I'm sorry.
Lucky you're still here.
Maybe you tripped over something.
I'm just like, what am I doing? So yes,
Just concentration, that's all.
I know, it's just like, oh,
It's mindfulness.
That's what since Christmas and the accident, I do mindfulness walking when I walk the dogs.
Yeah,
Just trying to just stay right where the
Yeah,
ground,
thinking
aware
about-
of the
yeah.
trees around, just
It's
so
very hard to do
mindful.
though, it's very hard.
I'm so tempted by my phone.
So I did a leek, very mindful of chopping the end off and then using the knife to slice legs with the knife away from me.
Yeah.
So fine, done, tick, relax, completely tuned up, thought I'm safe. Put my hand down and slice my finger with the knife anyway.
Oh, no. Oh.
So just,
Life, that's life.
Just- and then it wouldn't stop bleeding.
Oh, yeah, no, they do.
And then of course Phil's like, you're not going to do any cooking with blood everywhere. No, I'm not. I'm just
Don't
so
get blood in my food.
I don't get blood in my food either. So this, again, just bring your hands to the heart centre. Circle the hands up, stretching up, palms together. Come through the centre with your palms till we come into half salute to the sun. Soften your knees. Come to hands on the shin, breathing in, half lift. Breathing out, soften your knees, soften your elbows, curling. Half lift. Stay here as you breathe out. And breathing in, soften the knees, press the feet down. And roll up vertebra by vertebra to standing. Hands up. Stretch your third finger and then breathing out, hands down. Hands together at the heart centre. Soften your knees and stretch up. Palms together through the heart centre. Hands onto the shins. Breathing in, lengthen. Breathing out, soften in. Breathing in, lengthen. Stay here as you breathe out. And breathing in, soften the knees, press the feet into the ground, and roll up vertebra by vertebra to standing. And up, and lower. And then last time, hands together at the heart centre. Soften, come up. Palms together, hands through the centre. Hands onto the shins again, half lift. Breathing out, soften the knees. Breathing in, half lift. Stay here as you breathe out. And breathing in, soften the knees. Knees, press your feet down and roll up. Stretching up. And then lower. Your hands back down alongside you and you have to roll your shoulders. Now, I meant to get out, but I will do it now. I've also for each of you. It's just to rest your knee on.
In Janu, Shasasana,
As an option.
Thank you.
And just have my bolster there. So coming to lifting and rolling the shoulders, hands together at the heart centre to be ceremonial and quite Eastern, but this is Tibetan, and then just come to, in your own time, sitting on the floor with the legs out in front of you. So doing half salutes to the sun ticks a lot of the boxes, but without coming into downward dog and putting weight on your wrists. The kind of definition is how you move your back. So the back needs to be moved in a number of directions. So flibber, forward, lateral, inversion, back bend, extension and rotation. So we've come forward, we've extended, we've lateral and we've rotated already. We haven't done back bend, but that will be corrected. And inversion is another one we haven't quite done, but again it ticks the boxes. So just, again, fingertips out, don't feel that you've got to press your hands into the ground, and just bounce your legs. You can have your fingertips into the ground if you want to try putting your hands on. I'm just interested in feedback whether that looks okay for you. Okay, so just toes up and toes away a couple of times. Keep saying smile, don't fall over, do not fall over. I've gone and done exactly the same myself. And then circle. Janet's mum's fallen over, friend, and broken her hip, and her hip replacement. Her brother tried to commit suicide, half brother, and he was unconscious in hospital for days, and they brought him out, but he can't focus or can't speak. They don't know. They found him unconscious in the bath. The neighbours realised there'd been no movement. He's profoundly deaf, so he's quite bad. Disabled's not the right term these days, is it?
Well, say disabled, it's fine, isn't it?
No, yes. So he's disabled anyway, it's a half brother.
Hearing impaired.
Yeah, that's why he's not communicating, because perhaps with his deafness and everything that's been through. He's had a profound trauma, so
Yes.
that bit was shut down for a bit.
That's an interesting thing. And then just your rubbing and patting to wherever you want to be. So all these things going on with Janet.
Oh, yeah, tiny.
She needs yoga.
She does. She seems to have found an outlet for her energies on directions. So, but then her consultant is insisting that she come off HRT.
Oh, right.
And put her on a bio-HRT, which is more appropriate for her age, apparently. They wanted to come off altogether. So I thought it was ironic that just as her desires are going to wade with her HRT change, I don't know, would a doctor bring her a level up? I thought the doctor would decline the level of HRT once you get over a certain age.
I think so.
What age does that happen?
I don't know. I'm not sure. I'm not really up on that. No, I don't know.
So I never took HRT because Mum never seemed to get on very well. It just flipped her, and so I just never bothered.
I wasn't allowed to because I had a pulmonary embolism when I was about 35. So we got
Did you?
Yeah,
Did you?
flying. Two small children. So yeah, I was confined for a long time in a cabin, in a small space, and as a result, they won't let you have HRT, which is right.
Which is quite right. That's quite right.
Gosh, legs out of the.
So I'd done bioidentical. I did bioidentical hormones,
Did you?
and then discovered that they can be just as bad.
Oh yeah, people say things are
They're
natural,
not- they're
but they
not-
still have an effect,
yeah.
don't they, on your body? So
So Janet's taken off her go-to HRT. In fact, she's going to have a gel, which is bio and it's lovely. I think that your manic activity
Yes.
might just suddenly diminish.
I think it might well do.
Just as
Oh,
Andy's
I
divorcing
think
you.
it probably would very much.
Sure it will
Yes.
do.
I know the feeling.
So take your block and the bolster, keep your left leg out and just bend up your right leg. And just for the knee, just sway your knee a couple of times. And then hug your knee in. And with your knee hugged in, just turn to look over your right shoulder. Somatically turn back and look over your left. Right again. And then over your left to bring your head back to the centre. And take your support and just open your right knee to the right. Maybe have support under your thigh. And your right foot is aiming towards the inner left thigh. It doesn't have to touch. Just lengthen your body, breathing in. So actually lifting at the chest as a teaching point is classified as a back bend, which I think is quite interesting. It is interesting. So you don't have to go into a full back bend, but just lifting at the chest is classified as a back bend. And then turn to face your left extended foot. Keep your left heel extended. Classically, raise your arms up. Anyone with a bad back, just bend your elbows and just slide your hand down your left shin. And just take a couple of breaths. So if you're being very yogic, you would lead from the chest so that you're not rounding. And once you're there, you can round. So Janu Siddhasana is head to knee. The Siyas bit is the head, Janu is the knee, and the asana is the Sanskrit for pose, so Janu Siddhasana. And it's head to knee pose here, opens the right groin, so it goes into the lower lymphatic system. It's a forward bend, so it's calming for the nervous system when you're just rounding your back slightly, so moving the spine in a slightly different direction, almost encouraging the breath into the back. And you are in rotation here because you're turning slightly towards the left leg. If again you want to be very yogic, think that your left and right sides are extending evenly. You tend to crunch down on your right side. Just taking in and out breath again. And then sliding the hands up the left leg. Hug the right knee into the chest. And then just take the right foot over the left. Your left hand just to circle the right ankle a few times in one direction and then the other. And then either hands over, which is very non-yogic, or if you can bear to thread your fingers through, just open and close, open. These are, Sue would say, I think the lung meridians, are they so?
Yeah, across the balls of your feet, yeah, so it stretches out your lung reflex points.
Which is always a good thing. And then just, you can do kind of things, you can twist your feet around, you can pull the joints for arthritis, do all kinds of things, and then hugging the knee in. And just placing the right foot down alongside, just bouncing your feet. And you might like to, if you want to support, take your bolsters to the other side. And then again, the same, bending your left knee up, just hugging it into the chest. And just turning your head to one side, left, and then to right. And left. And right. And dropping your hands just to move your knee, lubricate the knee. And then hugging the knee in again and opening the knee out to the left. Use whatever support you need underneath your thigh. And extend your right heel. Lengthen your body. Hands up and turn towards your straight outstretched right leg, bending your elbows and just sliding your hands down. Feel that you're leading with your chest. And then once you've let your chest, just relax forward. So this is on your right side, you're opening your left groin. If you feel particularly that you want to stretch a bit more, you can run your hands down further along your right leg. You can hold the outside of your foot. You can take your right hand across your body and hold the outside of your right foot with your left hand, right hand behind. That really pulls on the lower back, what it does on mine. The quadratus lumborum, is it hard?
Yeah.
And then sliding the hands up. Hug the left knee into the chest and just step it over to be comfortable. Just circle the ankle, left ankle a few times with your right hand, the other hand. This comes into the anti-rheumatic series of exercises called Palomastana. It's moving the energy of the limbs through the body. So it's moving the ankles. And then if you want to thread your fingers through, just do that. And what I find more difficult is to leave the hand as it is, just relax and make your toes do the work. It's a slightly different experience. I don't like that as much. It's hard. For me, it's harder. I don't know, is it for you? Or?
No, I don't know what I'm doing.
It's easier to use your hand because there's more strength in your hand from that angle, whereas you haven't got the strength in there.
So just release and relax. And then just hug your left knee into the chest. Slide your leg out, just back your legs, maybe just rub back your legs again. And then if you've got any focus that you want today, so we're going to come to Baddha Konasana, so soles of the feet gently together. I'm doing this freestyle. Yogically wise, you would hold your hands here, which brings you forward more, and you bring your heels in more to your perineum. But actually, you can have your feet out a little bit and use your thumbs to massage the soles of your feet. If you've got any thoughts, any part of the body to focus on.
It's quite easy at this angle to do the middle of where the arch of your foot is, just inside there. That's all your intestines and stomach area, just very generally, obviously. So that's sort of there. And if you just try and do it in a clockwise.
Clockwise for you?
Clockwise. Yes, so each one clockwise.
Okay, yeah.
I mean, it's difficult to do both at the same time clockwise, but because your system, that's the way your system runs around. So you've got your ascending colon, then across, and then down. So it just helps digestion and everything to do it in a clockwise. And you've got to go on the other way around because that's only gentle, but that's the way to. It's actually quite hard to do it. You're both doing it both that way around. Just do one then the other. That's the thing. Well, it doesn't matter if you do it the other way. So that's generally your sort of stomach area. Because if you think of the foot as being your body, just that's halfway down and the stomach and the intestines are about halfway down. That's the best way to remember it. So if you're feeling a bit, bummed up or whatever, it's quite a good thing to do this with a bit of cream.
I can provide
everything. Helps everything. Get everything going, shall we say?
I clean all the loos and don't do everything, and then one of them, within seconds, wants to go to the loo. You can't go to that. You have to go to another loo. Needs a bleach to sort of settle in. And then just bringing your hands up, and then we're actually going through all the chakras. So this is Tibetan yoga. It's moving the chakras in a slightly different way. Keep your block handy, and we're going to come to lying. We're coming off the first chakra into the second chakra, and just knees bent, feet hip width apart, palms either down or resting on the abdomen. And just this very familiar swaying the knees from side to side. And you can then start to involve the head.
The same going the same way.
So, yogically, the head would move away from the direction of the knees. But if you find that your head is naturally moving in the same direction as the knees, then you do that. So, the reason for the head moving away from the direction of the knees is you get the ultimate rotation both at the neck and at the kind of the lower back hip level. and you lift your hips off the ground. But the purpose of the pose is just to kind of loosen up and massage, and it doesn't then matter. And you've got acupressure points at the back of your head as well as along the sacral area as well. So yogically, head away from the knees, but you do whatever you want because you're getting benefit from that. And then just have your block, try to think this through, to the right of you, by your right hip. Hug your left knee into the chest and extend your right leg along the ground. Just enjoy hugging the left knee into the chest. Apana, Apanasana, you're working on the lower foundational energy. And then just roll the whole body to the right. And your left knee will rest on the block, or it's an option to. Your left hand, just start with your left hand on your left waist and your right hand somewhere along the outer part of your left thigh, looking either up to the ceiling or to the left. It's a rotation. And you can keep your left hand on your waist, but if you feel like you want to stretch out under your left arm, you can raise your left arm, bent at the elbow, and just rest the back of the left hand above you. Or stretch the left arm out if you really want to stretch. And there's another option, which is the strongest, I think, and it's opening the left hand out to the left at shoulder height. Left palm, I would say down, you could have up if you prefer that. Like a book, that really does stretch under the arms, and that might be too strong for you, but it is an option. So just adopt the hand position that works for you. And extend the right heel so that you're engaging the right leg, so that the inner right muscles of the right leg, the thigh are engaged slightly. And then very, very gently roll back to the centre. Place both feet on the floor, knees bent, and press your feet down to lift and just straighten out your back and straighten out everything. And then you might like to take your bolster to the left side of you. And then extend the left leg along the mat. Hug the right knee into the chest. Your Apana, Apanasana pose on the right side. You can just circle your right knee a couple of times in one direction if you'd like, and circle it a couple of times in the other direction. And then when you're ready, just roll the entire body to the left, and you've got your bolster just to support you on wherever that works for you, it could be the thigh or wherever. Right hand on the right waist, and left hand on the outer part of your right thigh, just supporting it. And then your right hand can stay on the waist, or it can go up behind you, bent elbow or a straight arm, or you can open your right arm to shoulder height to the right, which is the strongest pose. Remembering to extend your left heel, engage your legs. So the purpose or function of this pose is a rotation, and almost your whole spine is being just ironed out, all muscles along the spine. Your body is being supported by the ground. So it's a really, really, looks simple, but it's a very releasing pose. Because anytime you do rotation, you balance the spiral muscles, but there's a rotation for every chakra and every part of the body, which is interesting. And this works on the lower part of the body. You can get very bummed up. We're talking so about the digestive system, so this connects into the lower abdominal area. And then very gently roll back. Bend your both knees, both feet on the ground. To press your feet down, to just lift and relax out your lower back. And then hug one knee and then the other knee into the chest, both knees hugging into the chest. You might feel more relaxed with your knees slightly apart, missing your tummy. And then just circle the knees in one direction. So the knees come together, they meet as you hug your knees in, and they go away and then go out to a just circle one way. Just moving the top of the leg in the hip socket, and then circle your knees in the other opposite direction. And after a rotation, particularly the rotation that we've just done, which is quite a deep rotation, the compensation pose for that is generally a forward bend. Now, I know this is a difficult, I remember thinking, so a forward bend, if you think of sitting forward, sitting up and coming forward, if you hug the knees into the chest, drop your hands behind your thighs, maybe clasp your hands and then just bring your legs upwards. This mimics the forward bend, so it's still compensating for your back, if does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
But because your legs are up, it's also an inversion. So you could just have your knees slightly bent and just sway from side to side, or stay static if that works for you. So you're compensating the movement of the rotation. Depending on how deep the rotation is, your compensation is about half the time that your rotation was, but that can be altered if you've only done a mini rotation. Then just bend the knees into the chest, hug both knees into the chest, just let both knees drift away, and just do that a few times in your own breath pattern. Massaging along the lower back. And then you might like to just slightly rock from side to side. So the back of the head just rocks as well. Just massaging across the sacral area, back in a slightly different direction. And you've got a choice here. The further away your hands, your knees are from, and your hands are from your body, the more lower down on the lower back you get. So you're flattening really almost down to further down. You engage your tummy more, but sometimes it's more satisfying to hug your knees really into your chest, and then you'll come fractionally higher up the back. So yogically, the instruction would be to lengthen your spine, so that more of the spine's in contact with the ground, so you're engaging your tummy more. That's a yogic view, that your hands aren't doing much of the work, your tummy muscles are. But in yoga therapy, you can do whatever you want, you just do whatever feels comfortable. And then supporting the hands and legs underneath the hands, just place one foot and then the other foot down. And we don't often do this. Palms down, bending the left knee into the chest, stretch the left leg up to the ceiling, and using your palms to support you, lower the left leg down to the ground. You can extend the left heel and bring the left leg to the ground. Slide the left leg into the chest, left leg up to the ceiling, extend the heel, and then point the toes, lower the left leg, but just before the left leg comes down, you might, likewise, your choice, like to extend the left heel. And then third time, left knee into the chest, left leg up to the ceiling, maybe point the toes, lower the left leg, and just before it touches the ground, extend the left heel. Bend the left leg up, left foot on the floor, left knee up to the ceiling, and we come to the right side, and then the right leg in, stretching the right leg up, extending the heel, lowering the right leg down to the ground, and extending the heels next to the ground. Just do that a couple of times in your own breath pattern. And when you've finished, hug both knees into the chest. Just rock them gently from side to side. Then we're going to roll to one side and come up to a seated position. Legs out in front. And I mentioned that there's a twist or rotation for every part of the body. They're all slightly different. So this one, just lengthen the legs out. Cross doesn't matter. Right leg over left. Lengthen the body. Left hand to the outside of the right thigh. Right hand behind. Lengthen the body and breathing out, turn to look over your right shoulder. Take an in and an out breath here. Come back to the centre, uncross your legs, hands to either side, and then it's the left leg over the right, lengthen. Right hand to the outside of the left thigh, left hand behind. Lengthen the body and breathing out, turn to look over the left shoulder. So this is meant to turn at the neck chakra up with the navel chakra, the Manipura chakra. And then come back to the centre, uncross your legs, bend one knee and then bend the other knee up. Have your feet comfortably apart and almost bring your tummy in, engage your core, and then just clasp your hands together and just take a couple of breaths forward. Your forward bend, calming after your slight rotation. And then just drop your knees to the ground. We're going to come very, very gently to standing, tucking the toes, and rolling up vertebra by vertebra to standing. Lifting, rolling the shoulders, and coming to triangle, hands out, left foot in, right foot out. There should be a line that you draw from the front heel to the middle of the back arch. So your warrior one, warrior two, just drop your front knee, look over your right
Sorry,
hand.
this is my allergy
Right
to the spring.
to the spring.
It's really unfortunate.
Oh, and then just lower your left hand to the left thigh, raise your right arm up and look, this is mindfulness, look at your right thumb, disconnecting the mind from the stress centres of the brain. And then just come back to warrior two again. And again, raise your right arm, left hand goes behind, just looking up. And then come to stretching your arms out, bring your right foot in, and then turn your left foot out, just reverse that. So again, soften your front left knee, warrior two, looking beyond the third fingers of your hand. If your hand, you can put your right hand on your right waist, that is an easy option to open your shoulder. And then drop your right hand behind, just looking up at your left thumb, straightening out your left leg a little bit. And then back to warrior two. And then again, dropping, looking up at the thumb. And then lowering the hand. Coming to bring your feet, come to the centre of the mat, so feet wide. And then slide your hands down, bring your fingers inside. And then just bring the left shoulder into the centre line. Come back to the centre, your right shoulder goes into the centre line. And again, left. And then right. Come to the centre and heel toe your feet in, so heels come in, toes come in. And then when you're ready, to just roll up and a nod triangle, but this is more swaying palm, thumbs together as you just gently sway from side to side. Lateral stretch. And then centre and lower your hands, lift and roll the shoulders again. Just circle your wrists up, stretching out, and just circle them down. And again, circle your wrists up, stretching out, and circle them down. So I don't just on your wrists, just give me feedback here. Palms forward, out, and then just roll them. Is that okay for the wrists?
Yeah.
But you are exercising them, I do. And then of course you can go the other way, so flat, together, and down. So it's just flex, moving in a slightly different direction. So focus on the wrists. And something that's good for the wrists, but again, depends on how you're feeling, just to shape them. But that might be a bit, is that all right? That's okay, is it? Just shake your wrists. And then just lift and roll the shoulders. And we're going to come down to work on more the heart centre. But before we do, just breathing in, hands out. Breathing out, hands back at the heart centre. Breathing in, hands forward. Hands back. Hands out. So you can feel this is lifting, uplifting of the heart. It's like your back bend. It's breath exercise. Meditation. Breath back in. Hands back to the heart. And then we move to the throat, so come to line, knees bent, feet hip width apart. And palms, hands down this time. Just a couple of pelvic tilts. Flattening back. And then moving back in the opposite direction, so there's a little gap on your back. And then half bridge pose. So press your feet down, actually lift your back, raise your arms bent at the elbows, chin into the chest. And then breathing out, start to lower your back and lower your arms back down. And then hug your knees into the chest. Soles of the feet to the ceiling and palms together. Just look at your palms, keep your head on the ground this time. Hug the knees into the chest. Soles of the feet back down to the ground, palms down on the floor. Flatten the back, lift the bottom, raise the arms, bent at the elbows, chin comes into the chest. Breathing out, lower the back down to the ground. Lower the arms, hug the knees into the chest. Soles of the feet to the ceiling, your V, palms together. Look at your thumbs, extend your heels. Hug the knees into the chest. And soles of the feet back down to the floor. And then last time, palms down, flatten the back, lift the bottom, lift the arms, chin to chest, raising the arms above you. How much you lift is up to you. Try not to let the knees splay out. And then as you breathe out, actually start to lower the back. The arms will come down naturally, they're in a cord. When your back's connected to the ground, you can hug the knees into the chest. And this time, keep them hugged into the chest and just rock gently from side to side. And then just a very light inversion again. Drop your hands underneath your thighs, maybe clasp them And the soles of the feet gently up to the ceiling, your knees can be bent as you just gently rock from side to side. Reversion. If you were at home, you could have your knees up at the wall or over a chair. I'm going to stay very long here. You can stay static, but sometimes it's quite nice to move. It's a dynamic movement. Just a subtle rock from side to side. And then very gently bend the knees into the chest. And once more, just rock from side to side. And keeping the knees together, just circle your knees in the same direction. So that concentrates the pressure at the lower back area. In very, almost like a 50 pence piece on the bottom of the back. And then just roll both knees in the same the other direction. Both going in the same direction. And then just support the knees underneath to bring the feet to the ground. Hands on the abdomen, elbows out to the side. And just take a few breaths, breathing in through the nose and breathing out through the mouth. Your own breath pattern. Just let the breath go. And just very gently roll the head slightly from side to side, just releasing any tension in the neck. As we start to move beyond the throat chakra and bridge, among other things, looks at the throat chakra. And then just take the fingers of one hand, doesn't matter which hand, and just touch the pads of your fingers to your third eye. It can be between the eyebrows or the centre of the forehead, and just gently circle in one direction. So the third eye is another chakra, energy point, connects, this third eye connects to intuition and our centre of knowledge. It can be very soothing, just to soothe across the forehead. And you can also take your fingers and just gently draw them from one side to the other in the same direction, off at the temples, just connecting and drawing across. And then to finish, in the Tibetan series that we're doing, we would do headstands and put pressure on the top of the head. But we're just going to take our hands, both hands, and just connect our fingers to the top of the head, and just let hands, palms of the hands go to either side. So the fingers just connect to literally the top of the head, the sort of fontanelles or the head bones kind of meet. And just hold your head in your hands. So you're connecting to the top chakra, which is it's called the Sahasrara chakra, the head, the crown chakra. And it's where supposedly our energy, our inner energy connects with the universe. We connect to the outside world. So when we're rushing around busy, this can pick up other people's energies. So this almost just is calming for the nervous system. Just brings you into yourself. And then just while you're here, you might like to have a thought for the day. Be for yourself, or someone close to you. Maybe a worldwide thought, wishing whoever, yourself, whoever, well, just let that thought, having repeated it a couple of times mentally, let that thought go, reset your attention. It's called Sankalpa in yoga. And then setting your energy for the day, you might like to imagine cocooning yourself in a cloud of cotton wool, or wrapping yourself like a candy floss or like an auric egg, and choose a colour that's resonating with you today. You don't have to stick with that colour, it can change. Just imagine yourself wrapping yourself so that only positive energy can come in for the day and week ahead. And then just let that thought go. Release your hands away from your head. Hug your knees into your chest, and then whatever works for you, whether you hug the knees in and let them drift away to knees length, to arm's length, or whether you just gently sway from side to side. It's up to you. And very gently roll to the side. So yoga you would roll to the right away from your heart, or however you want to come up. If I go to questions, or you do that, I want to come up slightly differently. Whatever works for you. And then come to a cross-leg position. If that doesn't work for you, then have your legs straight up in front of you. And bring your hands to your heart, taking a bow for yourself.